Now, this isn't all the forms of crafty counsel, but when you are on the street teaching, for you teachers, it begins with slavery, followed by colonialism. I say colonialism because, you know, in Africa, a lot of them be like, we were never enslaved. Oh, shut the hell up. You was enslaved and you were colonized. Erasing our identity is crafty counsel. That's right. You, Northern Kingdom, you don't know who the hell you are. All of our identities were changed when we got conquered. Erasing our history. They make us think that our history started with conquest. Our history was way before they conquered us. False religions is a part of crafty counsel. Protestants and Catholics, all that was given to us when we were enslaved, forced upon us, false religions. False political groups. When we got emancipated, they gave us political groups to go join into, whether Democrat and Republican. Now I hear brothers go, oh, we need to do campaigns against the Democrats. What about the Republicans? They're two heads of the same dragon. Everybody understand that?
Yes, sir.
Poor education, which deals with history, false history, erasing our history. All of these several things that are listed there fall under crafty counsel. Read that.
This is Pictorial History of Israel, 20th Anniversary Edition by Jacob A. Rubin and Meyer Barkai.
So Amalek put this together. Not us, Amalek. Next page. Read the highlight section at top. At the top.
Unto thy seed.
Unto thy seed. Now let's read the bottom section.
Yes, sir. This mural depicting Israel's bondage in Egypt was found in the Theban tomb of Rekhmire.
The Theban tomb of Rekhmire. Mm-hmm.
Governor and vizier at the time of Thutmose III, about 1450 BCE.
You know why this is important? Lower it a little bit. Lower it a little bit. You know why this is important? You'll have our people, especially those at a jailhouse and those that are in the Kemetic community, say that there's no history of the Israelites ever existing. Then what in the hell is this? Right. In the Valley of the Kings is where they found this archaeology on the walls of the tombs. Read that paragraph again, this mural, raise it up.
This mural depicting Israel's bondage in Egypt.
Depicting whose?
Israel's bondage in Egypt.
Oh, just wanted to make that clear. Go ahead.
Was found in the Theban tomb of
found where?
In the Theban tomb of Rekhmire.
Uh-huh.
Governor and vizier at the
time.
Vizier at the time of Thutmose III.
Thutmose III was one of the leaders, one of the pharaohs that was over us. What year was that?
About 1450 BCE.
So what is the Kemetic community talking about? What are these jailhouse Negroes talking about? There's no history, my brother. That's why I don't argue with them. Why waste your time with dummies? Read on.
And the Egyptians.
No, this is from the scriptures here, this section here. Go ahead.
And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. Exodus chapter 1, verse 13 and 14.
Now, y'all see the images of the Israelites right there on the screen. Black people. Amalek put this together. So for them to put this together, they know the Israelites are what? That's right. They know that. They got to know that. They can't be that stupid, that blind. They know the Israelites are black.
Harper's Bible Dictionary by Paul J. Achtermeyer.
Let's go inside the book. Let's get the bottom highlights. Read that.
Fresco paintings from the western wall of the 3rd century AD. Synagogue at Dura Europos, a city on the Euphrates River in Syria.
So this is in Syria. In Syria, this is what they found. Move over to the next highlight 2B. See it? Read that.
Yes, sir. At the right, 2B depicts Moses 3 times. From far right to left, Moses strides toward the Red Sea with staff upraised, leading the ancient Israelites out of Egypt.
Lower it down. Let's take a look at Moses 3 times. Take a look. Yes. Do y'all see? Does Moses look like Charlton Heston in these pictures?
No, sir.
He looks like a black man to me. I see a fro. I see woolly hair, dark skin. You see the Egyptians on the right being drowned. You got the Israelites on the left, brown as hell. This show, and these books are put together by Amalekites. Edomites. They know that we're the Israelites. This is why it was important for them to enforce crafty counsel upon us. I want y'all to, y'all see North Africa, you got Egypt, Libya, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Western Sahara, right in Mauritania. All that is Arab owned today. All that is Arab owned today. How? They raped, robbed, invaded, and settled there. I'm going to say it again. They raped our people. They robbed our people. They murdered our people. They pillaged our people. They enslaved our people. And then they settled. That's how they got Egypt. That's how they got Libya. That's how they got Tunisia. That's how they got Algeria. That's how they got Morocco. That's how they got Western Sahara in Mauritania. That's what they did to us. But there was no internet back then. Nobody could videotape back then, so don't nobody know today. Most black people, especially black Muslims, won't even talk about it. Zoom in. This was the third depiction. Yeah, zoom in there. So that's the third picture of Moses raising the rod. You got the Egyptians black in the Red Sea, and you got the Israelites behind Moses. Everybody in the picture's black. There's nobody Caucasian. But you know what Christians say? Oh, there was a fire, and it burned their images. That's why they're dark. Like, so how come Moses' robe wasn't burned with fire? You don't see how this is how urban apologist Christians lie and distort the truth. Give me the next book. Now, this is one of many books, and I put some images, but I didn't put the cover of the next book that I'm going to cover. Inside this book by Father Vladimir Ivanov. Let's go inside. Now, this picture here was not from that book, so I apologize. I forgot the cover of the other book. Well, this is a picture. Look at the bottom. Zoom in at the bottom. The former, who's that? Read it.
The foremother Eve.
So this is a painting of the foremother Eve. Can we see Eve? A black woman. A black woman. Let's go in the next picture. Zoom in at the bottom.
The forefather Joshua.
This is Joshua of the tribe of Ephraim. Let's take a look at him. Black. Do y'all see that? Now, we didn't paint this. Our forefathers painted this during the Dark Ages. Give me the next picture. Zoom in at the bottom. See the wording?
Descent of the Holy Ghost.
Descent of the Holy Ghost. Let's take a look at the picture. You got Christ in the... Can we zoom in on the pictures? Yeah, a little closer. I don't need the... Yeah. You got Christ in the center with the crown on his head with an afro. Then you got 12 apostles around him, all black men. Do y'all see what I'm seeing? And in church, in Christian, they go, I really don't, I'm confused. Oh, I don't know. Stop it. Y'all see that, the around Christ's top, how got that pattern? Zoom in on that. Yeah, I just like see it on his garment. The pattern right on the top of his garment. That's some nice stuff right there. Okay, let's get the next picture. Next page, I mean. This is the crucifixion. The crucifixion. Christ, a black man. You got Mary there. You even have one of the Roman centurions who was black, showing you that Cornelius, yes, Cornelius was black. The Romans, y'all don't see that Roman centurion right there? Look at the angels flying around. Now, I didn't paint this. This from way back then, way back when. Give me the next book. Now, we touched on this last week, but there's something I missed to show y'all last week. When I just happened to, now I usually don't watch myself, but this day I said, let me look at something. Maybe I made a mistake. And I forgot to bring something out. Next picture. Inside this book. So this is St. Maurice, black man. Knight in armor. Next picture. That's him side view. Nose popped off. Next picture. That's him in armor. You never see this in the movies. Next picture. If you see it in the movies, it'll be one black guy, one Negro. Like, what's that one with, you had Robin Hood, where you had Morgan Freeman was a Moor. That's one. But there's a recent one where King Arthur was fighting his brother. There was one black soldier Y'all know the brother I'm talking about? Y'all didn't see the movie? Was it King Arthur? Yes. And he was fighting the elephant. At the very beginning, it was hot. It was bad. He was fighting elephants. The elephants was bewitched. Huh? That's his name, the black guy, Jamon Hounsel. Where are you from? Senegal? And he had on armor, and he yells out, "Whoa!" He's the only black dude in the whole movie. But that's what they do. Let's give him one. We can't show a whole lot of them because they'll think they were leaders. Well, we were leaders. We are leaders. Look at that, armor and a cape. Armor and a cape. I thought only white people wore armor and a cape. That's what our mentality was when we were young. I thought only white folks was allowed to wear capes and armor. Next picture. Read that bottom right there.
Yes, sir. Statue of St. Maurice from the facade of Town Hall in Jüterbog, 1508.
So let's look at the pictures. That's St. Maurice there on the left. And 157, read the word in 157.
St. Maurice and his companions, upper half of the right wing of a triptych from the chapel at Gross Wittenfleitzen, Lüneburg Museum für das Futsal Lüneburg.
Yeah, you good. You all right. So y'all see them black brothers right there? Now I keep forgetting to get the entire painting. It's filled with black men that they never show you on TV. They don't show you in school, and they sure as hell don't show you in church. This is why the black church is failing. Why are people just leaving the church? Because the Christian church is full of lies. Give me the next book. Read that.
Blacks Who Died for Jesus, a history book.
By who?
By Mark Hyman.
Mm-hmm. Journalist, historian. Go inside, page 11. Let's read that.
The Christian Soldier. Saint Maurice of Aganom. Today in Western Europe, this African is the principal saint in parts of France, in Switzerland, Italy, Savoy, and Spain, Laurenburg, Krakow, and Coburg. Have him as their title patron. He is on the coat of arms of these royal houses. The highest civilian medal of Italy, called the Sardinian Order of Saint Maurice, is named after him. Maurice, the African Roman general.
He was a what?
An African Roman general.
He was what I want you to see, not only was he black, but he was a Roman general, not a foot soldier. He was a general. Go ahead.
And all of his 6,000 men.
How many men did he have?
6,000 men.
He was over 6,000 men. Go ahead.
Were black. And Christian.
They were all black and Christian. Read that whole thing.
Maurice, the African Roman general, and all his 6,000 men were black and Christian. He was ordered to a place called Aganom, which was in present-day Switzerland. His orders from Roman Emperor Maximian.
Roman Emperor Maximian was an Edomite. Go ahead.
Was to put down a rebellion. There was nothing unusual about this assignment, since Europe, or Gaul, had been a concern of Roman occupational government for 3 centuries. The confusion arose after Maurice arrived. He found the rebels to be Christians who were objecting to Emperor Maximian's persecution of their fellow Christians. Maurice sent a message to the emperor saying he would not fight or kill these Christian rebels.
So, and you know what's heavy about this history? You'll have black people today that say Christianity started, or Christians started with the white man. That's not true. We knew about the understanding of Christ being black way before that. This is what you're reading about. Okay, this is before. Go ahead, read on.
As punishment for his refusal to fight and kill the Christian as ordered, Emperor Maximian brought another army to Aganom and killed all of the soldiers, except a very few who escaped. Maurice was killed on the spot.
So that's the issue. Now let's go to, now read this.
Portrayal. The earliest surviving work portraying Maurice as a dark-complexioned African.
See that? The earliest surviving work portraying Maurice as a dark-complexioned African. Go ahead, dates.
Dates from the 12th century. The oldest.
Now, the reason they said it, because all the new pictures of him is of a Caucasian man. Go ahead.
The oldest surviving image that depicts St. Maurice as a black African in knight's armor was sculpted in mid-13th century for Magdeburg Cathedral. There it is displayed next to the grave of Otto I, Holy Roman Emperor. Jean de Vise, The image of the black in Western art laid out the documentary sources for the saint's popularity and documented it with illustrative examples.
Jump down, raise it up. Raise it up. Raise it up. Right there, start with images.
Images of the saint died out in the mid-16th century. Undermined, Sakal Redolfin suggests by the developing Atlantic slave trade. Once again, as in the
wait. Images of the saint died out in the mid-16th century. Undermined, whatever his name is, suggests by the developing Atlantic slave trade. They did not want the slaves to know of a man called Saint Maurice who was a general of 6,000 black soldiers. You can't let the slaves know that. This is part of crafty counsel. Read on.
Once again, as in the early Middle Ages, the color black had become associated with spiritual darkness.
You see that?
And cultural otherness.
Read.
There is an oil on wood painting of Maurice by Lucas Cranach the Elder, 1472 to 1553, in the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Now, this next section is what I forgot to bring out last week. Read this.
The city of Coburg's coat of arms honored the town's patron Saint Maurice, since they were granted in 1493. In 1934, the Nazi government forbade any glorification of the black race.
Do you see this? The Nazis forbade it. So all the images that was up, Hitler said, take them images down. Take them all, because there was black images of our people all throughout Germany.
Right.
They said, get rid of this. That's what Hitler did. Read the part again.
In 1934, the Nazi government forbade any glorification of the black race. And they replaced
So where do y'all think the white man got that from here in America? It's the same mentality, the same spirit, the same agenda, the same propaganda. Go ahead.
And they replaced the coat of arms with one depicting a vertical sword with a Nazi swastika on the pommel. The original coat of arms was restored in 1945 at the end of World War II. Today, the silhouette of St. Maurice can be found mainly on manhole covers.
Do y'all see that? They put it on his image, on his silhouette on manhole covers. Go ahead.
As well as the city coat of arms.
You can't make this stuff up. Give me the next book. That's that one right there. So this one is book 2. Let's go inside. Because they destroyed us, can you highlight? It looks kind of blurry. It's kind of blurry, right? Okay. If you can you zoom in on the colored picture? This is the part of their crafty counsel. We often talk about, like we're talking about, settling, invading. We ruled Europe for almost 1,000 years. White folks came and took it from that. When we talk about invaders, we talk about being displaced. We never talk about the history of Europe because we really have never been taught about it. So we'll talk about America. We may talk about Australia or South Africa or places like that. But we never talk about Europe. Here is this was a, what is it called? Kind of a blanket. What is it called? A tapestry. It's a tapestry. Thank you. Of blacks ruling Europe and white folks, the wildlings, wild men, hairy wild men attacking us in our castles. Do y'all see that? We ruled Europe. We got invaded and displaced. And white folks settled in our land. Next picture, please. Okay, read that.
Yes, sir. In the scene we are studying, the attack on the castle, not only is this distinction clearly marked, but wild men and blacks are set in real opposition to each other.
See what they call white folks? Wild men. That's why in the, what's that again?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, they call them, what did they call them? The wildlings. The wildlings. Go ahead.
The black archers who came out in front of the drawing bridge are, by their clothing and their beards, of the Saracen type.
They're trying to say that they're Muslim, but they're not. Go ahead.
Often represented in 14th century chronicles of the Crusades. Like the other defenders posted on the ramparts or at the tops of the towers, they wear a bandeau on their foreheads. The total effect is that of a troop of blacks armed, organized, urban, small of stature.
Y'all see the insult? Small of stature. Small compared to those wildlings was big as hell. Go ahead.
clashing with a band of giant wild men. What is at stake? 3 persons leaning out of the windows of the keep, a crowned black king with a white beard, a black queen with blonde hair, and a black princess.
So this ain't, Nicki Minaj wasn't the first one to do it. Go ahead.
And a black princess whose arms are outstretched in a gesture of fearful pleading. The presence of the armorial bearings has led some to conclude, perhaps a bit hastily, that this was a marriage tapestry. Other types of alliance between the 2 families might serve as explanation.
Next page.
But the hypothesis has possibilities. Should we then see in this scene an allusion to the fact that the bride is a Zorn?
The tapestry is not about a bride, but he's focusing on a marriage. It has nothing to do with a marriage. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Of the Lap branch, marrying a Blumel? For our part, what is important here is the evocation.
Watch this. What is important here is the evocation of what?
Of an organized black society.
See, that's that's unheard of today with white people. They say an organized group of black people? These guys are animals. They don't know anything. They're stupid. How could you show them as an organized black society? That's a part of Crafty Council, never to show us organized. This is why when we go marching or whatever, the news said, don't show that. That's why J. Edgar Hoover said the worst thing to the United States of America is Negro unity. You can never show them organized. Never show them like they got sense. Read that again, that part, in organized.
An organized black society opposing a group of white wild men.
That's what we did. We are organized and we opposed groups of white men. We did it back then and we're doing it now. Go ahead.
And the representation of a black royal family with a crowned black king.
You can never show that. Hitler said never show that, and in school they said never show that to the slaves. Zoom in, top left. Here's another one. Now this wasn't a tapestry. You see black men in the castle, white men storming our castle. So I'm not making nothing up. I'm showing you history that has been hidden from us, which is a part of Crafty Council, which they said never let the slaves find out about this stuff. Move over to the next picture. Look at this. We lost. You can see the image of the lion on our shield. That's how you know these guys wasn't Muslims. The Lion of Judah. Okay, they were slaughtering us. Look at them chopping us up. Chop, chop, chop. Hacking us to pieces. Okay, raise it up. Look at this. This is stuff your children need to know about. That way your children won't have low self-esteem and say stupid things. Yeah, look at a lion right there. Oh, go back over to, go over further. Go over, put the highlight, put that circle you had. Go over to the right. Yep, now y'all see the 6-point star on the right, on the far right. Yeah, right there. We did have that, but guess what? Write this down. Dang, what's the object? It went boop. Solomon. No. Seal of Solomon. Thank you. Write this down. The Seal of Solomon. It's when Solomon went off into idolatry, paganism, and witchcraft. It's a book called The Seal of Solomon, and it has that image on it, the 6-pointed shield, and it's all about witchcraft and evil. So this is why you got black Israelites saying, yeah, we had it. It's the shield of David. God never gave that to David. Solomon didn't even have it when he was in his righteous way of thinking, when he gave his mind to mischief. Give me magical books of Solomon. Thank you. That's when they got that 6-pointed shield like you see in the center right there. So I'm not making nothing up. Right there. Y'all can see the blacks in the castle right there. And the whites are storming another one of our castles. We were all over Europe, brothers and sisters. Europe was ours. We were not just in Africa running around, throwing spears, going unga bunga, waiting for Tarzan to come save us. That's a lie. That was all propaganda. This is the truth right here. We were the Knights of the Round Table. That was us. That's right. Give me the next picture. What does that say? Oh, yeah. Read that.
218. Armorial bearings of the Pucci family, Italy.
Let's look at the Pucci family. Top. This is the Pucci family. What do y'all see? All black people. Do y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
These are on the sides of buildings. So it's not just drawings. There's actual sculptures of black people from thousands of years ago in Europe. So that's the evidence that we once ruled Europe, whether you like it or not. You could close your eyes, close your ears, close your mouth, act like the three damn monkeys, hear no evil, speak no evil, however it goes, if you want. But this is the evidence, this is the proof. And us bringing stuff out like this is why black men are leaving the Christian church, because the Christian church refuses to bring out this type of a truth. Next one. Okay, so now what about the Arabs? What about the Arabs? Arabs. Shout out to Captain Shemai for showing us this book, Islam's Black Slaves. Let's go inside the book, please. Zoom into the highlight section. The first, just the whole section. Go ahead, read that.
The practice of slavery. Though I am a slave, my soul is nobly free. Though I am black of color, my character is white. Blackness does not diminish me.
Because the Arabs had an issue with being black. Go ahead.
As long as I have this tongue and this stout heart, some are raised by means of their lineage. The verses of my poems are my lineage. How much better a keen-minded, clear-spoken black than a mute white?
This was a black poet that wrote that. Read that next section.
One scholar argues that it was the Great Zanj Rebellion which led to a hardening of attitudes against blacks.
If you ever look up the Zanj Rebellion, Zanj means black. Over in Iran, Iraq, those areas, we rebelled against the Arabs when they had us in slavery. It was a huge war that nobody talks about. I mean, and it took a long time. Ultimately, we lost the war against them. That was God's prophecy. But we could not stand being enslaved. We rose up against oppression, degradation, being raped, and pillaged. They hated our guts, and we hated their guts, too. So when you get a chance, look up the Zanj Rebellion. You could even Google it if you want. It's there. Okay, right. They were slaughtering us, and we was killing them, and they was killing us. This was over in, I think it's Iran. Go to the next one. Go back. Read that. Come on, read.
One scholar argues that it was the Great Zanj Rebellion which led to a hardening of attitudes against blacks.
So they had a bad attitude against us. Go ahead, because we rebel. What, you do not like being a slave? Habib, I made you, I treat you good. I cut your penis off. I treat you good. Yeah, you cut my penis off. That's why I'm going to kill you. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That the black Africans came to be held in contempt in spite of the teaching of Islam.
Yeah, to hell with the teachings of Islam.
And there emerged in Islam literature many previously unknown themes expressing a negative attitude towards blacks.
Y'all see that? Give me the next page.
The use of slave eunuchs.
You know what a eunuch is when they cut your penis and your balls off. That's what they did that to thousands of us so that we could not procreate, so that we could dedicate ourselves to them. It emasculates you. You know what that is? Your whole devotion was to your master. You didn't have no desire for a woman. Read that again.
The use of slave eunuchs as concubines.
Stop! Y'all know what a concubine is? A lesser wife. They use the men as lesser wives. Read it again.
The use of slave eunuchs as concubines by some merchants in 19th century Morocco points to a feature of Islamic society that affected the treatment of young male slaves.
See, that affected the treatment of young male slaves. Go ahead.
Whether they were eunuchs or not.
Oh, so you didn't even have to have your penis cut off. They said, I like you and I want you. Allah Akbar. Jump down.
Hodgson explains, sex between males entered pervasively into the ethic and aesthetic of upper classes.
That's them rich Arabs. Go ahead.
As in some classical Athenian circles, it was assumed that a handsome adolescent, beardless, youth, or even a younger boy was naturally attractive to any full-grown man, and that the man would have sexual relations with him if the occasion arose.
You know what that means? My wife, one of my 5 wives, they all got their period. I can't get none tonight, so come here, little boy. Come here, Habib. Come here, Raheem. Come here. Go ahead, that's what it means.
For instance, if the youth were his slave, Alongside sex relations with his women, many love lyrics, particularly in Persia, were conventionally and explicitly addressed by male poets to males.
So some of their poetry, their lyrics, it was men singing to men. You would think like them. Well, let me leave Luther Vandross alone. He's gone. I'll leave him alone. Go ahead, read on.
Yet, Hodgson adds, the Muslim stereotype of such sexual relations answered the idea of the sex act as an act of domination.
Yes, that's like in jail. Y'all know in jail, you're the dominant one, so you're not gay. No, both of you are. Go ahead.
Right. The adult male.
Hearing room got quiet, but go ahead.
The adult male, as the lover, enjoyed a youth, probably anally.
Probably what?
Probably anally. Who was, in principle, passive. And while the relation was only improper, at most licentious, for the lover, it was very dishonorable for the youth who was enjoyed, who thus allowed himself to be cast in a woman's role.
You can't make this stuff up. Go ahead.
As early as late 17th century.
Remember, this is the Arabs. Go ahead.
As early as the late 7th century, black slaves known as the Zanj, associated with people from the East African coast, were put to agricultural work in a region that encompassed part of Western Persia, but mainly southern Iraq.
Go ahead. Next section.
And the Nuba rebel commander, Ismail Khamas, was cited as saying, the policy is to isolate the Nuba tribes, wear us down, politically neuter, and then Arabize us.
They Arabize us, meaning they taught us Islam. They forced Islam on us. They made us walking and breathing Arab. That's why people today in Islam, they really think they're Arabs. You speak against what they did to us, and it'll be the black ones that come against us first. Go ahead, Khartoum.
Khartoum does not want blacks like us to have any sort of power, but to remain fourth-class citizens.
It was true back then. It's true today. Next page.
Religious and racial persecution. One aspect of this persecution involved a campaign ostensibly to clean up the city streets. One aspect of this persecution involved a campaign ostensibly to clean up the city streets by removing the so-called street children from them. Many, perhaps most of the children, however, were not runaways or homeless. They lived with their families and were at the time on some errand or walking between home and work.
So this is it. You got kids, you send your kids to the store or something like that. You had a two-family home, two-parent home. You were not a runaway. You were not homeless. Look, they lived with their families and were at the time on some errand or walking between home and work. Go ahead.
Such information was never sought and, if offered, was ignored.
Right. If they grabbed the child said, I'm going to the store for my mommy and daddy. They didn't give a damn, even if they was Muslim already. Go ahead.
The captives were transported for indeterminate stays in closed camps.
They put us in camps. Go ahead.
Generally far away from the place of capture. In Abu Dum, north of Omdurman, about 650 boys were held at a secret camp in June 1995.
So that wasn't too long ago. Go ahead.
And at times, the number reached as many as 1,000.
See, I can't be feeling sorry for the Arabs. This was 1995. Go ahead.
Moreover, there were at least 7 such secret camps for abducted children.
They abducted our children. Raise it up.
One boy, a Christian whose family had moved to Khartoum from the south in 1983, was 10 years old and had been sent by his father on an errand to the market when he was seized in 1990. It took his father 3 years to find him and secure his release. You
imagine the torment of a father trying to find his son? For 3 years, it took him 3 years to find his boy. Go ahead.
And secure his release. The boy reported that all in the camp, whatever their religion, were required to participate in the prayers and rites of Islam.
Y'all see that? All the boys had to participate in those garbage prayers. You made me a slave. You took me from my parents and forced this garbage religion on me. The rites of Islam. Go ahead.
That all the boys were black.
All the boys were what?
Black.
All the boys were. There ain't no Arab boys. Ain't no Chinese boys. No white boys. They said, we want black boys as slaves. And make them Muslim, put Islam on them. Go ahead.
And that the camp officials used to lash the boys or force some of them to lash others.
Y'all see that?
The NIF regime did not reintroduce slavery in the Sudan. During the 3 previous years of elected government, for instance, Arab militias enjoyed official license to confiscate cattle, burn property, and capture civilians as part of a policy to erode the supposed main social base of the SPLA rebellion among the Dinka and Nuba peoples. The civilian captives, most of them women and children, were then transported far from their villages of origin and kept as slaves.
Kept as what?
Slaves.
Kept as slaves. Oh, this is the 90s now. Don't think this was thousands of years ago. It says the boy said it was in the 90s. Go ahead.
Forced to do unpaid domestic work, to herd animals, and sometimes perform sexual services for their masters.
So what you all sad about the Arabs for? Are y'all crazy? Are you crazy out there? What is wrong with you? You see what they, and none of them speak up for us. What Arab nation said, hey, this is evil, this is wrong, stop doing this to them? Not one.
Because when I was in Israel and I saw there were some Ethiopian cats, you know, some Jewish.
Beta Israel,
and they were like, yo, they were what?
They're called Beta Israel.
Beta Israel.
Beta Israel, and they're discriminated against.
Yeah, they were telling me how racist it was. They were like this. I was talking to them. They were like, yo, brother, man, we're big fan. He says, yo, it's so fucking racist here. I go, why? You're all Jewish, but it's like that supremacy shit.
Kind of Jew.
Ashkenazi supremacy.
You see what I'm saying? And these are the same people that suffered. I go, why though? This is what they were telling me. I go, oh man. So go ahead.
And no one would condone that. No one would condone that.
Don't you think that's fucked up?
Anti-black racism? That's horrific.
And it doesn't matter what religion we are, because there are some Muslims, some Arabs that don't even pray in the same mosque as some with the African ones. And there are more African Muslims than there are fucking Arab ones.
Oh, yeah.
Way more.
Mostly
in Nigeria, are you kidding me? Yeah. And Indonesians have the most Muslims. Yeah. But it's like, why wouldn't you pray next to, it's rough.
Who is Esau Edom? By Charles A. Weissman.
So white man wrote this. Amalekite wrote this. Ashkenazi wrote this. Go inside the book. Zoom in.
The origin of the Jews. The Jews of today fall within 2 main types. The Sephardic Jews.
Which is from Spain.
And the Ashkenazi Jews.
What is the irony that the word Nazi, N-A-Z-I, is in that word? That's ironic. The Lord know what he's doing. The Lord know what he's doing. The Lord said, you're going to choose that name. Go ahead.
The Sephardim are also known as Spanish Jews and constitute about 5% of the Jews in the world. The Ashkenazim are the East European Jews, which were found in Poland, Russia, Germany, and Western Asia. This group of Jews make up 90% of the so-called Jews in the world.
So the Ashkenazis are 90% of these bastards. Go ahead.
Many reference and historical sources have unequivocally identified that the bulk of the Ashkenazi Jews were derived from a people known as Khazars, or Khazars in some texts. The original Jewish encyclopedia of 1905 revealed that the main stock of the Jews came from this Asiatic people known as the Khazars, or the Khazars.
So what all you teachers, y'all need to get these books, get the encyclopedia, because if you just deal with Google or online, they're starting to change all the references. I'm telling y'all, they're going in. Amalek, they watch our classes. They monitor. Oh, we got to change that. Get the books, you teachers. Put them on billboards so people can read it for themselves with the cover of the book. Go ahead.
Khazars, a people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginnings of the history of the Jews of Russia. Historical evidence points to the region of Urals as the home of the Khazars.
Next page. Next page. Zoom in. I only want the highlight section.
Yes, sir. The Khazars are also of Edomite stock.
Y'all see that? Can I get a bomb? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, IT, thank you. Read it again.
The Khazars are also of Edomite stock. And both stocks make up the present day Jews.
So they said these Khazars are Edomites. They are the present day Jews. Read under it about the, you see the under it?
The Idumeans, Edomites, were made Jews.
Y'all see that? So they're also, in the Bible, it calls them Idumeans as well. So this scholar knows that these so-called Ashkenazi Jews are Edomites. I didn't write the book. We did not write the book. Give me the next section. Raise it up.
According to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the original stock of the Khazars came from the land of Edom.
Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? So in their encyclopedia, they know that they are Edom. They're Khazars that came from the land of Edom.